oil and gas wells in the state.
Oh, okay.
Weld is number 1, Garfield's number 2.
Good morning. We'd like to call to order this meeting of the Fremont County Board of Commissioners. I would invite you to rise, please, for an invocation by Chris Bauer of the Village, and then stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's pray. Dear loving Heavenly Father, we thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself and the measure of help that we need to fulfill the callings you've given us. We thank you for friendship and for the ability to be involved in work and the honor of bearing the responsibilities that you've given us. I pray for everyone in their various levels of duty and for this assembled council. I thank you and pray that you would grant them wisdom to govern with all the issues of our times and with a sense of welfare for the true needs of the people represented, with confidence in what is good and fitting, also with personal peace in their lives and joy in their task. I pray for the agenda set before them today, that you would give them an assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in this beloved Fremont County. Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chris. Let's have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell,
Present.
Commissioner Payne,
Present.
Commissioner McFall,
Present.
County Clerk Barr, present. County Attorney Jackson,
Present.
County Manager Bryant,
Present.
Planning and Zoning Director Koch.
Present.
All right, let's move on next to today's approval of agenda. I know of no changes we need to make.
Madam Chair, I make a motion we approve today's agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve today's agenda. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
motion carries.
Up next is the consent agenda for today. I would like to note that we are not scheduling a public hearing with today's consent agenda for future reference.
Madam Chair, with that, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve today's consent agenda. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
motion carries.
Staff and administrative and informational topics. My tongue is a little bit tied up this morning, apparently. We'll begin with staff and elected officials. We'll start this morning with County Clerk Katie Barr's monthly report. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning. This report is for the month of June. The total motor vehicle fees, sales taxes, and recording fees collected for June were $1,197,7456. Fremont County's portion for disbursement is $666,838.12, which is 56% of the total fees and is $56,629.24 more than June of last year. And year to date, our office is up $347,402.84 from last year.
And I keep thinking people will stop buying new vehicles. Perhaps I'm wrong.
And we're grateful.
They're not even slowing down. You're right, we are grateful. Thank you.
With that, I move to accept the county clerk's monthly report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the county clerk's monthly report. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
motion carries.
Up next is our county manager, Sunny Bryant, and she has a report for us as well.
Okay, just a couple of quick items. We had the holiday last week, so that kind of put a little wrench in our
progress as far as doing some of our projects that we have going on. But last Wednesday, Wednesday, June 28th, so a couple weeks ago, the commissioners and I attended a tour in Chaffee County of the Upper Arkansas Water Conservancy District storage proposals. So it was actually really a neat project to look at, and they have a couple of different things that they're looking at as far as some underground storage and increasing a capacity in one of the private lakes that's up there and stuff. So that was a neat project to look at. And then yesterday, the commissioners and I attended a luncheon with the City of Canyon City and the City of Florence. So it's always good to meet with those entities and see what all they're working on and get updates from them, as well as give them updates on what we're working on. And then just a few department updates for the county. Our public health department, we do have a couple of temporary nurses that are on right now helping us out. And they're actually going to get us through until we get some new nurses hired, and so we are able to do some vaccination clinics and different things. So if you're looking to get vaccines done, you can get them scheduled with the public health, and we're just hoping people don't wait until the last second before school starts, so we have a mad rush. So hopefully we can get that spread out. And then the Road and Bridge Department is still working on some chip seal projects. So currently they're doing County Road 6 today, and then they're going to do County Road 40 tomorrow, and then they'll be moving out towards the Penrose area and then here in Canyons. So they have quite the ambitious list this year of projects that they're working on, but they're moving right along on those. And actually, Tammy and I drove out there this morning. I've never actually seen a project going on, and so we went out there for a little bit this morning to watch it, and it's quite amazing on how they do that and how quickly it can go along. So it's pretty neat.
It is really interesting. I typically go out once and track them down wherever they're working to take some pictures that we can use then next year for our accountability report.
Right.
And it's always interesting to watch and see how much hard work that really is. And
Absolutely.
it's so hot out there, and those guys are just guzzling water down, and they work really, really hard out
They
there.
sure
so,
do.
Yeah. All right, thank you for that, Sunny. I have had a conversation with our sheriff that I would like to bring up with all of you this morning and kind of give you some information. We have all started receiving requests for information about a fire ban because, as most of you probably realize, it is relatively dry around here. We have had a few fires here in Fremont County lately, but the good news is all of them have been caused by lightning and none of them were caused by human action. So that means that you folks are being responsible, and we thank you so much for that. The 4th of July was a safe one with the fireworks. No fireworks started fires, and we are all very grateful for that. So Fremont County Sheriff Jim Biker, who serves as the county's fire official, along with our local fire chiefs and other fire officials, are monitoring day in and day out the changing fire conditions here in Fremont County. They are using data from the fire experts about our area and believe we simply have not yet hit the trigger points to implement a fire ban. However, if we receive no moisture in the next week to 10 days or so, then the sheriff will look at implementing a fire ban. And if necessary, the county will call an emergency board meeting at that time to do just that. So Sheriff Biker and all of us urge folks to continue to be safe in all of those activities that are potential fire starters. And we thank you all. All right, gentlemen, anything
Along
else?
with that, I just want to thank all the firefighters that were involved in the fires that happened over the weekend in Fremont County. We had one kind of up off of Tallahassee, and one up off of High Park Road, and then one up off of Red Canyon Road. And the volunteers, the fire districts, everybody gathered up and did a great job working together as teams and got those out pretty fast, really, for the way the weather conditions were with the wind. So thanks to all of those guys, and keep them in your prayers, and appreciate them for what they do.
Absolutely, thank you. Anything else?
Nope.
Ready to move on?
Okay.
Up next, citizens who wish to address the commissioners on a matter not scheduled on today's agenda. Do we have anyone in our massive audience this morning that would like to speak to the board? All right, seeing none, we will move on. We have no old business for today. New business for consideration. Item 1 is the reappointment of Larry Brown to the Board of Appeals for an additional 3-year term, which would end on August 1st of 2020. I do believe we all have a letter from Mr. Brown
We do.
in our packets asking. He has served almost 6 years. He's found it very interesting, informative, and he would like to be reappointed.
And with that, Madam Chair, I make a motion that we reappoint Larry Brown to the Board of Appeals for an additional 3-year term ending August 1st, 2020.
I'll second.
Oh, sorry.
It has been moved and seconded to reappoint Larry Brown to the Fremont County Board of Appeals for an additional 3-year term ending on August 1st, 2020. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Motion carries.
We also have the reappointment of Dan Brixey to the Board of Appeals for an additional 3-year term, also ending August 1st of 2020 on today's agenda.
We do have that letter there, and I will move to approve his appointment for another 3-year term ending in August 1st, 2020.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to reappoint Dan Brixey to the Board of Appeals, excuse me, for an additional 3-year term ending August 1st, 2020. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Up next, we have an agreement for legal services between the Fremont County Board of County Commissioners and the Fremont Conservation District. So I'm going to ask our county attorney, Brenda Jackson, for a few words of information on this.
Sure, Madam Chair. The Fremont Conservation District is a small little special district in Fremont County. They meet monthly and they don't have regular general counsel to advise them. And from time to time over the years, I've answered simple legal questions for them. And they had a need for review of contracts and other documents this year and had no one to turn to. So they asked the Board of Commissioners if you would consider contracting out my services to them. Our paths rarely cross in general county work, so there really isn't a potential for conflict of interest, and the board approved it. So this is a simple agreement setting out that I would give general advice, review of legal documents, an hourly rate for my time to reimburse the county for my services. And they approved this, I believe, at their July meeting, which was last week. So it's ready for the board approval.
All right, thank you so much. Gentlemen, discussion?
Well, both myself and Commissioner McFall have sat with the Fremont Conservation District Board of Directors, and this is needed with them, as Ms. Jackson said, that they just time to time they need legal services. And so with that, Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve this agreement for legal services with the Fremont Conservation District.
I second that.
It has been moved and seconded to approve agreement for legal services between the Fremont County Board of County Commissioners and the Fremont Conservation District. And I think, as Brenda already did explain, one of the most important pieces of this is that we do see no future conflict of interest. And if one does arise, of course, we will take steps to correct that. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 4 today is a lease agreement between the Fremont County Board of County Commissioners and the Combined Regional Communications Authority Board. And once again, we're going to turn to our county attorney.
Okay, this is with respect to FreeCom, the regional dispatch center that was established over the last few years and became operational 2 years ago. The Board of Commissioners at that time agreed to waive any rent for the space that they are using, which is on the 4th floor of the judicial building out on Justice Center Road. To enable them to get started, they had a very, very tight budget and needed a break from the rent for a while. So the board agreed to abate 2 years of rent. So now we're on that 2-year time period. I have been negotiating with Richard Mandel, who is the attorney for the dispatch center, the Combined Regional Communications Authority Board, and we've arrived at a rent amount and terms of a lease that appear to be mutually agreeable to both the county and the dispatch center. So this is the lease agreement, providing for the last 2 years' rent to be abated and then setting a rate for future years for rent. And the lease is 8 years long and to be reviewed after 4 years.
All right, thank you for that.
And I learned this morning that Chris Meredith, our director out there, has submitted his resignation. So he'll be leaving the center hopefully no sooner than mid-September, but they will be looking for a replacement for him. He's been wonderful, and he's going to take his second retirement.
Well, that is news to all of us,
Yeah.
I think, with those kind of shocked gasps I heard down the row. And it's news, but it's not good news for us. It's good news for him, I'm sure, and we do certainly wish him every good thing in his future. But he will be missed. He's done a great job for us. All right. Further discussion?
I have none with that. I do move to approve the agreement between Fremont County Commissioners and the Combined Regional Communications Authority Board for the lease agreement.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the lease agreement between the Fremont County Board of County Commissioners and the Combined Regional Communications Authority Board. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, next we turn to the Fremont County Airport Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, also known as the DBE program, for the Federal Aviation Administration, which has been prepared by Armstrong Consulting. And we're going to ask County Manager Sunny Bryant if she can explain those long words to us.
All right. So the Federal Aviation Administration requires that we have a disadvantaged business enterprise program in place for any time we go out for a contract for any services out at the airport as far as construction projects or anything. And so Armstrong has put this information together. They are also the ones that review all of the bids and actually check for this as well and make sure that we stay in compliance. So this is required every 3 years. This current one that we have done expires August of this year. So this new one will be put in place prior to the expiration of the current program. And we will continue to meet the FAA regulations so we can continue to get grant funding out there.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Sunny.
Okay.
Commissioners?
Well, Armstrong has always done a great job for us, and with that, I would make a motion that we approve this DBE program for the Federal Aviation Administration.
Second that.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the Fremont County Airport Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program for the Federal Aviation Administration, which has been prepared by Armstrong Consulting. Sunny, thank you for that explanation. It's some documents and legalese that we kind of have to jump through, and as Commissioner Payne already mentioned, Armstrong does a really nice job for us in not only preparing the documents but making sure that we stay in compliance
That's
as well.
correct.
So big thanks to them. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. Last on our regular agenda, we have a request for a special event permit for the World Christian Concern and Fremont County Fair Ranch Rodeo, which will be held at Pathfinder Regional Park. And I'm assuming Hans is with us this morning? Good morning. We have with us Hans Perl, who's going to discuss what the request is.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Hans Prahl. I'm the owner of Florence Brewing Company over in Florence, Colorado, 200 South Pikes Peak Avenue, Florence, Colorado, 81226, the only zip code. I figured I would say that. So I was approached to put on a beer garden for the ranch rodeo, specifically for the Saturday night event. And so we partnered up with the World Christian Concern. They're a nonprofit organization out of Colorado Springs. Because the special event permit has to be submitted by a nonprofit organization. So they supported kind of what we want to do. And so basically the idea is to provide a controlled environment, basically serve beer to people that are 21 and over during the hours of 4 p.m. to about midnight. Well, at least that's where the permit goes to. Probably go a little bit less than that. But that's kind of what we just extended it out a little bit to take into consideration tearing down and whatnot. So it's going to be a completely blocked off, and I think maybe you have the outline of the map of where everything is. So we're going to use orange construction fence to basically block off those areas so that it is controlled inside of the arena, and then everybody that's going to be ID'd, with identification, we'll give them a wristband, and that's how we know that they can consume alcohol there. There will be signs posted, basically no alcohol beyond this point. I think I pointed out where we're going to put those on the fence.
Mhm.
So yeah, so just trying to support a little bit, try to bring something new to the event that hasn't been there before. And so we hope it's going to be a good thing, and you know, it'll be a little bit maybe more advertising for the county and the county fair. We're really good with social media and really good with advertising and marketing. So we figure this probably, if we partner up, it'll be a good thing.
All right, thank you for that. I have to say, I went last year to my first ever ranch rodeo. I've been to many, many rodeos, but this was like something I've never experienced before. And it was so much fun to watch teams out there and the funny things that they try to do. It really was. I just never, yeah, it was really entertaining, and I absolutely will be back this year. I would urge everyone to go and check it out because it's a lot of fun. So we're talking about Saturday, July 29th.
Yes, ma'am.
And I actually see you said from 4 p.m. to midnight, but I see on your application it says 3 p.m.
Okay, I guess maybe that was a typo, but if the application says 3, then that's.
So we're going to go with 3.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so we need to talk a little bit about who is going to be doing the serving for this event and how they will be trained.
Absolutely. So the staff, it's going to be 3 people from my brewery. So it's going to be me and 2 of my bartenders who are tips trained. All 3 of us are certified and tips trained. So we are very aware of not over-serving individuals and making sure that we can control, you know, the amount of alcohol that people consume, at least through us. So if we can see some of those signs of visual intoxication, we'll definitely cut them off. And it's my understanding there is going to be some security there to give us a hand in case things do get out of hand. But we've never had an issue. Usually people are very happy and you know, and very compliant. So that's our method of controlling, you know, the beer, controlling how much we actually serve people.
Okay, so what about your age check, your ID check? Will you be using wristband controls? How's that going to work?
Yes, ma'am. So we actually have wristbands. So basically they come in, if they want to get a beer, they're going to come into the beer tent. It's going to have a big 10 by 10 canopy that says Florence Brewing beer here. And so they come, give an ID. We will ID absolutely 100% of everybody. So no age discrimination. And so they get an ID, we check their ID, we'll give them a wristband, and that wristband basically lets us know that they've been ID'd properly and that they're of age to drink.
Okay, and a single beer tent, right? There's
Yes,
only
ma'am.
one location for selling and serving. Okay, those are the questions that I had, gentlemen.
Okay, and you did say there's going to be security
I was
present?
told it's not our security, but I was told there is going to be some sort of security there to help out with
Okay.
basically crowd control.
So the ranch rodeo will provide that?
Yes, sir. That's
Okay.
what I was told.
All right.
I just kind of have one comment. It's not really funny stuff they do. It's
It is funny to watch.
it's what working cowboys and cowgirls do
But it was very
in real life.
entertaining. It was very entertaining.
So they do get kind of wild once in a while. I
and you
think
want it to be entertaining. I'm saying it's a good thing. I'm not laughing at it.
some
I'm
of them
thinking
can be
it's-
pretty wild, I
It's
guess.
a fabulous thing. Commissioner McFall.
It seems that in the past that there's been a little bit of problem with alcohol back behind the chutes and stuff like that. So hopefully I hope that this will kind of curb some of that and make it a little better venue for everybody. And I think it'd be a great idea.
Yeah, and one thing we did want to do also is if you're a participant, we're probably going to give a participant discount. So kind of to encourage maybe not drinking your own beer. We'll give you a discount on our beer, so come drink our beer. That way you don't kind of, I know that there's been an issue in the past, so this is kind of probably a possible mitigation technique that we can use to hopefully sway some people to say, hey, let's keep it inside of the controlled area.
And keep it legal.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anything else, board? Your wishes?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the special event permit for World Christian Concern for the Fremont County Fair Ranch Rodeo, which is July 29th, from 3 to 12, is what the permit states.
Second.
All right, it has been moved and seconded to approve this special event permit to serve beer at the World Christian Concern Fremont County Fair Ranch Rodeo at Pathfinder Regional Park. As mentioned, on July 29th from 3 p.m. to midnight. All right,
Thank you for your time, I appreciate it.
further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And we wish you the very best of luck with this, and just would urge everyone to come out. If you've never seen one of these, it's a really, really great time. So.
And Hans, if you can stop in my office upstairs this afternoon, we'll have the license ready for you. Okay.
Thanks, Hans.
Thanks, Hans.
Okay, it is 9:54. We have 6 minutes until we have a public hearing schedule that will begin at 10 a.m. So we will go into recess at this time to convene again at 10 a.m.
No crutch?
It was a fair question.
Yes,
It was.
And it wasn't even dripping with sarcasm now, was it?
No snark whatsoever.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's just
See?
peppered.
Yeah,
Yeah. Goodness.
they have money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that always helps.
God, they're stacked on top of
The hour has reached 10 a.m., so we will reconvene to hold our public hearing that is scheduled for this time. So our public hearing this morning is the revisions number 1 and 2 to the Fremont County Airport rules and regulations regarding signage for commercial operations, as well as the interaction between helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft. With us this morning, we have Jim Woolworth, who is a part of our Airport Advisory Board. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Jim.
Morning.
So we would ask you for a word of explanation of what this is doing.
Okay, when I submitted this, it was originally for revision 2, and I noticed you added revision 1, which was approved by this board in December 2015. Did you want open discussion on it again?
We did not have a public hearing, so they are re-adopting.
I see. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what I recall about that.
And I do apologize. I guess I assumed that you were aware we were doing this morning, so
No,
I apologize for
I
that.
looked at it online. I knew it was on there. I just questioned whether you intended to do that.
Yes.
Revision 1 was primarily related to signage for businesses at the airport, specifically the skydiving businesses. At the time we did that, there were 3 competing skydiving businesses out there, and they were all advertising in their own way. They were putting large signs on the side of their building, and they were putting signs off the property, on their leased property, and it was getting to be an eyesore. And the board got together and talked with the different activities and decided that we needed to impose some restrictions on the size of signage and the placement of signage for those businesses. So that's what was done. We specified the size of signage that could be placed on the side of any place of business out there, and it's related to the wall area of that business. And we also decided to lease land that was separate from that business if they wanted to, for the purpose of advertising and posting signage. And we also specified the sign, the size of that signage as well. So that's what that review and change was all about.
Thank you so much for that, Jim. Brenda, we need to do these separately, or
No, you can do them.
we can do them together? Okay. I think we all remember having those conversations about the signs. It was a conversation that had taken place over several years in the effort to try to balance keeping those skydive companies happy with what the county actually needed to be doing out there. And so I recall that we finally were able to come to some decisions, and so we will move on and we'll discuss part 2 before we take a vote. But gentlemen, do you have any questions, any comments about this particular portion?
No, I don't.
Okay, all right, let's go ahead and talk about revision 2.
As an afternoon, that's been operating quite well since that change was made. Of course, one of those competing businesses moved out, so that helped as well. But, on to revision 2. Revision 2 has to do with the incorporation of a higher volume of traffic from heavy lift helicopters, primarily from Fort Carson, and our local flight fixed-wing flyers who fly light fixed-wing aircraft. As a result of the buildup at Fort Carson, we've seen increased increase traffic from their training activities that come down to Fremont County as well as they go to Pueblo, and they're doing increasing amounts of emergency and standard procedures, which put a lot of helicopters on the runway in unusual conditions that we don't ordinarily encounter. The FAA doesn't specify too specifically what helicopters have to do. They just say they avoid the flow of fixed-wing traffic. That was sufficient for them, but we found that it wasn't sufficient for us. A lot of our fixed-wing flyers were increasingly concerned about the operation in and around heavy helicopter traffic. And the reason they were concerned is because of the weight disturbance that these large helicopters produce. They produce a rotor vortex, is what it's called, and it's quite a strong flow of air from the operation of the helicopter, specifically while they're in a hover. They generate a very strong rotor vortex. And the problem with the rotor vortex is that it's invisible. You can't see it. And as light fixed-wing aircraft come in to land on the aircraft runway following operations with heavy-lift helicopters, they can experience very, very severe turbulence to the point where it can result in loss of control. We've had a couple of incidents over the past several years on the Front Range, one at Fort Carson, one up at Loveland, where Black Hawk helicopters, that's about 16,000, 17,000 pound helicopter, was doing hovering maneuvers over the runway. They departed, and as little as 30 seconds to a minute later, light aircraft would come in and attempt to land on the runway, and that rotor vortex is very persistent, especially in light winds. It can stay there for a long period of time, and it caused both of those aircraft that encountered that vortex to lose control. They both rotated and inverted, and they impacted the ground that way. The aircraft were totally destroyed, and luckily nobody was hurt, but you can see it would be a much different result. So our pilots were concerned about that. We invited the Army down to talk about this. We've had them down a couple of times over the past couple of years to talk about just the very concerns that we have, and to try and resolve ways that we can operate differently and together so that we avoid these safety concerns. And we agreed at this last meeting that we had, this was about 2 months ago now, to institutionalize some procedures in terms of putting something in writing in our written procedures or rules and regulations for the airport, and they would in turn put something into their standard operating procedures that would stand the test of time. The Army specifically has difficulty with the type of instructions that go into their regulations because their units are always rotating in and out. They rotate and they get deployed overseas, and another crew comes in. So they needed something that would stand the test of that rotation. They had something called a read file, which every pilot in the Army that goes up to fly every day has to review the read file, and that's an ideal place to put instructions on what to do if you're going to Fremont County and flying around light fixed-wing aircraft. So they agreed to put those instructions in place, and we agreed to go forward with Revision 2. We voted on it as a board, and unanimously we agreed to recommend that the board approve our safety adds to the regulation. And also we've incorporated in there some prescriptive directions for helicopters, not just Army helicopters, but any helicopters that come to Fremont County, so that we can avoid conflicts.
Thank you, Jim. I think it's fair to say that we all appreciate the board's attempts to be proactive and to take care of the situation before we actually do have an incident, as you already have described, has happened here in Colorado several times. Gentlemen?
I have a curious question, I guess. What happens if these regulations aren't followed either by a helicopter? What happens?
Well, the regulations that we put in there specifically for helicopters relate more to their operations, how they enter the traffic pattern, because the FAA is non-prescriptive and they allow helicopters to do whatever they want as long as they avoid fixed-wing traffic, it creates a puzzle on our part. We don't know what they're going to do. So we put into our regulations that they will announce their intentions. They will not approach the field low level where they're not radio contact with us, things such as that. Now, if they don't follow those, I guess there's a chance that we'll have a problem. You know, they could be approaching while an aircraft is announcing its takeoff. They wouldn't hear it, and there could be a conflict there.
Hopefully that won't happen, but I guess it would be an FAA thing after that because it could possibly cause a problem, I guess. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So not only is the increased traffic with the Fort Carson, but also depending on the fire season, you might have a lot of fire helicopters, so they would be under the same regulations, obviously. And
Yes.
and would that mostly be state, or would that also be federal? I suppose depends on the fire, I suppose. Yeah.
Most of the fire helicopters are out there are contracted by the state, is my
State,
understanding.
yeah.
But regardless of whether they're federal or state, if they come to that airport, the way our rules and regulations are written, they have to follow our guidance. So it's compulsory that they do that.
Yeah.
And the helicopters that are flown by the fire service are every bit as much of a problem, or could be a problem to light fixed wing as the Army. So we haven't written our regulation or changed it in a way that talks about Army helicopters. It talks about large, heavy helicopters.
Oh, okay.
And their helicopters vary from 16,000 pounds to 20,000 pounds. Compared to most light fixed-wing aircraft we have, they top out at around 2,000 to 2,500 pounds. So it's like 10 to 1.
Geez.
And the weight of the helicopter has a lot to do with how much rotor wash or rotor disturbance they put out.
I think that's an interesting fact of how that stays there. It's something you don't think about. It makes perfectly good sense that it stays there for a period of time and that could cause that. That's a pretty interesting fact.
Yeah, the worst condition you can have is light winds, no wind at all, and that rotor vortex is just a circulating vortex of air. Once the helicopter departs, it stays there. There's no wind to displace
To push it, right?
And then someone comes along and can fly right through it.
Yeah.
And
that's
I think, I
interesting.
guess I would say it would be fair to say that it is in all of our users' own best interests to follow and obey the regulations that we are setting out today.
Yes,
Because if they don't, then they're the ones who could suffer for it.
absolutely.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Your wishes?
We've got to open up the public hearing.
Oh, we do, don't we? Great call. Well, we did open the public hearing,
is
so
open,
that
yeah.
part is done. But do we have anyone in our audience today who would like to stand up and speak? For those of you who can't see, there's no one sitting out there. So, it's probably why I forgot. So,
Yeah.
okay, no one is willing. So, all right, with that, we will close the public hearing. All right. And I will ask my fellow commissioners for a
Okay.
motion.
So, Madam Chair, with that, make a motion that we approve revisions number 1 and number 2 for the Fremont County Airport Rules and Regulations regarding the signage, commercial operations, and interactions between helicopter and fixed-wing aircraft.
Second it.
All right, it has been moved and seconded to approve revisions 1 and 2 to the Fremont County Airport Rules and Regulations. Further discussion?
No, just thank you, Jim, and thank the board for your work on this.
You're welcome.
As always, very diligent, and thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's have a roll call.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye?
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
motion carries.
All right, and just real briefly, in the belief that it's never too early to mark your calendar, since we're discussing airport, I would just like to mention the Fremont County Air Show is going to be held again this year, I believe on September 16th,
That's right.
on Saturday, which is the same day that Florence Pioneer Day is
Yes.
held. And we did them in conjunction 2 years ago, and it just worked out incredibly well. So we're doing the same thing again this year.
Yes. Yeah, the attendance was very good at both locations, and there was a lot of synergy there. We had buses that provided transportation back and forth between the two. The schedules were arranged so that they didn't conflict, and it worked out very well for both.
And I think one of the very neatest things is someone will be providing a flyby just before the parade begins.
Yes.
So that's always a really exciting thing. Kids love to see airplanes. So mark your calendars, September 16th, Fremont County Air Show. All right, thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
With that, we are adjourned.
Are you tired from all the work you had to do in the meeting today?
Yeah, I'm more out.
Because it stopped running in Canyon.
Radical.
I had to go back and look at the agenda 2 or 3 times and I must have been taking something.
You're gonna have to go take a nap.
Yeah, yeah.
From the
Uh-huh.
break to the
Yeah, that'll be fun.